Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. This Sunday's Father's Day. I'm thinking about the family. I'm looking forward to seeing my children and grandchildren. It's good to think about your family. This week, the Southern Baptist Convention is meeting in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I've heard it called a family of churches. Here in our church, we often use the phrase, our church family. Well, what do we mean when we use that word family? How do we define family? What makes up a family? Jesus said some interesting things about family in Mark chapter 3, verses 31 to 35 in the New Living Translation, second edition. Then Jesus' mother and brothers came to see him. They stood outside and sent word for him to come out and talk with them. There's a crowd sitting around Jesus, and someone said, "Your mother and your brothers are outside asking for you." Jesus replied, "Who is my mother? Who are my brothers?" Then he looked at those around him and said, "Look, these are my mother and brothers. Anyone who does God's will is my brother and sister and mother." That's quite the statement. Let's look at this a little bit. The mother and the brothers came. They wanted to speak with Jesus. He's up in Galilee and he's traveling around and he's speaking in the synagogues and he's making quite a name for himself, and everybody's talking about him, and they're certainly talking with his mother and his brothers about him. And they're not real sure what to think of this whole thing. So they've come to find out, they've come to talk to him. They may have been trying to talk him to settle down a little bit and quit trying to make so much ruckus and just come home and be quiet again. But it's interesting how they approached him. When they came, you didn't hear Mary say, "I am his mother, get out of the way, let me through." No, she wasn't entitled. She showed respect. They came and they stood outside the crowd. They didn't push anybody out of the way. They didn't make any rude gestures. They didn't say how entitled they were to see him. They just said, "Tell Jesus we're here." And they left it up to him what kind of response he was going to make. The respect and the humility that Mary and his brothers showed, I think, are tremendous given the situation. And then he asked the question, "Who are my mother and my brothers?" Who is my mother? What does it mean to be family? What does it mean to be related? And he said, "Anyone who does God's will is my brother and my sister and my mother." You know, he's not dismissing his mother. One of the last words he spoke on the cross was to tell the Apostle John to take care of his mother and to make sure that she was cared for and that she had no needs. He was not dismissing his mother. He was not telling his mother she was not important. What he was doing was expanding the concept of family to include those who think alike and have a common purpose to obey God. He said we expand what it means to be family to not just those we are related to and not just those who are raised in the same household, but to those we have chosen to gather around to be a part of the same ongoing expression of obedience to God. We truly are a church family. We see each other, we care for one another, we pray for one another, we're important to each other. When one of us hurts, we all feel the pain. We truly are a church family. And we've included and expanded what it means to be family by those who are trying to be obedient to God together with us. It is beautiful to be a part of a local church family that loves and cares and hopes and dreams with us. May you be a part of such a beautiful, wonderful local church family. God bless you.